My name's Clayton Couchman, head coach of the men's volleyball team at Cinematography College. I would say at some point in my college career, so I played at Fleming for 5 years, I had a coach tell me that his goal for me was to play professionally. And so that became a realistic thing about in my third or fourth year. I started to planning for a future in volleyball. After I finished playing, so I used up my 5 years, I coached for 2 years at Fleming College as the assistant coach there. Had an amazing experience with that coaching staff. And then I was able to launch my playing career through the one volleyball league in Canada. I went overseas, and ever since then, I was just passionately involved in the game, and I knew that this was going to be my life. I was going to find a way to make volleyball my life after playing. Well, that wasn't going to be enough, so I had to find a way to keep doing this. So in the summers, it's been coaching the youth at beach volleyball, and I've also done the college thing as well as the assistant coach. And when I actually applied for this job, it was more for I wanted the experience, and I wanted to be able to get used to answering these questions and put in this situation. And I had still planned to play another year. I was in Greece, and the team wanted me to come back, and I had a great time there. But this opportunity coaching for this college is something that I could never pass up, and I'm so excited to make that transition. But that's how we got here. Oh man, it's just, for me, the biggest thing is the willingness to put yourself out there. So like you said, I'm an OCAA athlete, and furthermore, I didn't play club or anything before that. Straight out of high school, I went to Fleming as a basketball player, and the volleyball coach stole me during a tryout. So just crazy raw when I got there. I was just a sponge, listened to everything my coaching staff had to say. And that's one thing I'll always tell my athletes is, no matter who your coach is, whether or not you agree with them or disagree with them at the time, the best thing that you can do is take everything from each coach, and you'll find you'll craft your own type of volleyball player through those things that you've learned. And like I said, whether or not you're going to agree with everything or not, it all is put forward into the player you eventually become. I've had plenty of experiences where I maybe disagree with a coach, but because of the type of player that I was, I would use it, try it, and eventually once I become comfortable with it, it's just a massive tool that I have as part of my repertoire. And I would say that would be a massive thing. And on top of that, I would say discipline is a big thing, because for me, I was not the most talented player. I was not the guy that everyone played against would be like, this guy for sure has got to go play pro, but I definitely worked harder than anybody. And a big thing for that was not just the motivation to get in the gym, but in the days where I don't want to go, I just stick to the schedule. And I mentioned putting myself out there. Before I got to Germany, I was messaging teams, and I was getting a lot of no's because I didn't have an agent, I didn't have anybody helping me, but I was doing it all myself. And the biggest thing for me was, I will put myself out there. I'll come out, try out. I'll fly myself there, pay for it all, and you can say no to me, I'll live with that. But what I won't live with is going the rest of my life and wondering what could have happened if I had maybe tried. Your coaches say this all the time, it's very true, talking about buying into a philosophy or buying into a system. A big part of that for me is we win as a team, so nothing's ever accomplished with one or two guys. I've been, even at the highest level, I've been a part of situations where we say, we're going to give the ball to one guy, and we got to try and attack one aspect of the game, and it never works, right? So being able to win as a team is a very important thing. It's team first, and for me, that's the most important thing. We buy in, and we can't win unless all 14 or 16 guys, whatever it is contributing, and that starts in practice and goes into gameplay. That's a great question. I would say the first thing is to establish a relationship. So foster those relationships with your players, not only player-coach, but player to player, so that team atmosphere, that family atmosphere is established and built. But to get that motivation, it comes from getting them to want to work first. So how do I show that we're on the same team, and I'm here for you, and I need you to be here for me. So that's how I get that motivation. I think that's something that I've really strengthened as a youth volleyball coach. So being a beach volleyball coach, you know, you get a lot of new athletes to the sport, new athletes to beach volleyball, and a lot of them are going to be nervous, new environment, putting themselves out there on the beach. So for me, it's often at that level, it's being a little bit more fun, maybe a little more goofy, making them feel welcomed and relaxed so that they know that, you know, I'm here for you. And now they can focus on putting in the work. So establishing that relationship is the best way for me to get the motivation from the athletes. Absolutely, you nailed it. So a lot of that stuff is coming from just having heaps of very experienced and talented coaches in my career. I've been super lucky, and that's part of why I've been able to make this transition, why I'm confident moving forward. Is I've worked with some of the best coaches and all over the place, all over the world, and you take a lot from each coach and what works, things that you like, and you know, there's never a point where I'm going to be like, okay, I've completed my craft. You're always, like you said, how am I looking to improve in that aspect? A big part of it is reaching out to the coaching community. I have a lot of friends that are in the coaching community, and also a lot of friends that I'm in close proximity with. So we'll sit down and we'll just talk for hours. And I have a couple close friends where it's just volleyball is our lives, and it's just we can talk for hours on, you know, system ideas, game plans, players, coaching styles. So sharing, bouncing ideas off of each other for coaches that you know. So it's not just part of the experience that I've had and taking things from individual coaches. A lot of it is relying on the resources that you have at hand, and talking with coaches that I know is a big thing, but also always looking to improve in other ways. So a part of it would be watching YouTube videos on gameplay at high levels, watching provincials, nationals, whether it's OUA, OCAA, and you just learn just from watching the game. You know, it sounds pretty simple, but that's the bottom line. You watch the game, you learn, and the learning never stops, and that's an important thing. Yeah, I think you run into trouble not only as a coach, but as an athlete. When you think you've learned everything, then that's when you hit a wall. It's all been very positive, because everyone, all my close friends and family knows that for me this has always been the goal. I wanted to coach, and I think it was a big surprise because, I mean, the fire was still there for me to play. It you know, at a certain point you do feel that it starts to go out a little bit. But eventually, I mean, for me, the biggest thing has always been, am I still loving it, and can the body still hold up? And that was part of it, is that I was having some issues that, you know, as committed as I am to figuring out, you know, what's wrong with my shoulder or back, whatever it is, I was having some issues that I couldn't quite get over. So I think that was part of what made the transition easier for me. You know, I knew that when this day came, that it would be very tough for me to say goodbye to the player Clay and embrace the coach Clay, and I think that's made it easier. But this opportunity, like I said, coaching for Centennial College it's a no-brainer. Like, I'm so excited, and my friends and family just definitely reciprocated that feeling. My mom was ecstatic. Yes. That's an amazing question. So the first thing is that as a coach, I will never pass up an opportunity to develop, and that's I've talked to some of the guys about my background, and I come from a baseball family where that was my true passion, but I could never play or coach at that level. So I mean, I couldn't see a pitcher and say, okay, here's how I can add 5 miles an hour to your pitch, but I can watch an approach and say, okay, here's our timing fix, here's our arm swing fix, you know, X, Y, Z. And that's always been a big thing for me, is my player development, big priority. So I never pass up an opportunity. So when it comes to practices, games, I attack them right away, and then I'll let the athlete build on that moving forward to make sure that that's balanced well with our performance on the court. We got to make sure that we take those opportunities in preseason. So preseason opportunities, so we're playing against teams, we got to make sure that we're trying new lineups, getting guys in. So we are focusing on that, not only that player development, but also, like you said, so when guys are put into situations, making sure that in an emergency situation, we've done everything that we've needed to do development-wise and experience-wise. So we've gotten the athletes in the exhibition games, so when the time comes and we need them, not just in emergency mode, but maybe we want to make a matchup adjustment, or players aren't quite performing at the level that they're expected to. We've got to rely on our bench to come in. So not only is that just going to help us get to the level that we want to be at to help us win, but it also just helps with their player development. So like I said, in those moments where we really need them, they come in, everyone on the court, not only that athlete's ready for it, but that everyone on the court goes, okay, we've seen this situation. It's not a shock. We don't have to be nervous or uncomfortable for this one player coming in. That's for me is very important. Make sure that's like I said, great question with player development and getting the win. Finding that balance is, I think they can go hand in hand. Yeah, there are two parts of me in that thought in regard, because I am a very hands-on and I have a vision for how this program is going to go, and I'm very excited. And as we should be, I'm assembling an incredible coaching staff. We've got past professionals, OUA players. We have a middle blocker, setter, and an opposite coming in as the heart of our coaching staff right now. And then we've got experienced with the team coming in as more administrative statistics stuff. So we've got a very well-rounded coaching staff. For me, a lot of it is I've already had these meetings with our coaches. We talk about what our plan is for the season, how we accomplish that success, and then I say, okay, so for your role is here are my expectations, and then I'll kind of let them do their own thing. And that's the beauty of having such a diverse, experienced coaching staff. So Jess Gaskin is our head assistant, and she's been recruited to York, Humber, Sheridan. She's got incredible experience as a setter. So when it comes to our setters and running our offense, that's something where, I just give her free rein. When she wants to talk to our setters in practice and in games, when we call a timeout, she does her thing, and I fully trust her. She wouldn't be a part of the coaching staff. Our coaching staff wouldn't be together if I had any questions about, their judgment. That trust has just got to be fully there. So in certain regards, there is a lot of trust that I put in them to do their own thing, because they've got the resume and the experience that backs up. Okay, well, so for me, even if I weren't just freshly removed as a player, I'm always going to be a super competitive type of coach. My goal is always to win. When it comes to setting those goals preseason, that's something that it usually comes later after tryouts at the minimum, and then you kind of make a bare minimum goal. From what I know now, our goal is to repeat as a playoff team. I know that, or I think that we have the pieces that are returning to do that again. And I'm ambitious. I always want to go one step further than we had last year. When you make that transition in the coaching staff, there is a little bit of difficulty that comes with those goals. But I think that with the coaching staff that we have and how ambitious and experienced we are, I think the goal is to take it one step further. So we want to be a playoff team, and we want to see success in the playoffs. So those goals, we have that first goal, playoffs, and then once that's accomplished, what's our next goal? So there's usually a step-by-step basis, but for this program in general and beyond this season, it's the ceiling is limitless. Like, we've truly got the support in this program is incredible, unlike anything I've ever been a part of, and I think that'll be something that is going to be super exciting going forward.